Yeah, I think for a lot of the small exhibit houses out there, increasing prices is always a very challenging psychological, endeavor because you're worried about losing the client. It's, probably one of your most important clients that you don't wanna lose it, so you don't wanna increase the prices, but the reality is the people who do not change, who do not increase prices will probably fail. So, in a practical level, Chris, I think you're probably having a lot of conversation with the clients. How is the response? Do they see the merit of increasing prices, and how are you handling that on the day to day?
No, great question. Love this subject. So last year we sat down. Last year, I think Dan, would you agree that was really our first full recovery
Mhm.
year? I mean, in some ways, the business it was like drinking out of a fire hose; just it came raging back. But we really sat down and audited what our pricing was in our main product and service offering area, and we realized we had not updated pricing in some years in some cases on by the way, we don't work directly with brand side exhibitors. We have kind of an interesting model. We only serve exhibit houses and experiential agencies. So we don't work directly with the exhibitors. We serve, we're a forward deployed sort of a rental build shop in Vegas and Orlando. And we've been sort of shrinking our way to success. In a few words, can we be more in service to fewer partners? So my customers, when you ask Khalil, are those individuals. They understood last year a price adjustment because everybody felt the cost
Right.
increases, right? So there was no pushback at all. In some cases, we were 15% higher labor, in some cases more because we all understood that. I think what's interesting is um, if we're honest, we should be disciplined enough to be looking at that every year. It's no longer about we just got really lazy. And it's no longer about, hey, we need a price increase so we can make more money. We have to keep up with the rising costs of everything. I remember it was a couple few years ago, sheet of plywood, Dan, right? We could get it for 25 or 26 bucks. If you negotiate, it's 55 right now if you buy it in bulk, right? And labor, it's the same. You've got a driver shortage, a trailer shortage, and unpredictable gas and oil prices, which drives up transportation costs. The fact that there is a labor shortage, the general contractors we rely on for things like rigging and electrical and other services, it is slower, less experienced. There's a lot of apprentice quality labor out there. So we're paying more because things take longer and we live in a time and materials world. So, now will my partners, my clients, how are they going to feel if this is a conversation I have to have every year, which is again, back to the subject of the economy, Dan, we're looking for some predictability or some sign of leveling off. I mean, tell me if I'm speaking at the small and mid-sized business person level, but you and I play in the same sandbox. Is it the same that you're experiencing?
Yes and no. But first, one last quick observation about the price increases. I agree, Chris. Our experience was identical. Last year, price increases were something that was a pretty easy discussion. Everyone was reading the same news stories. They were experiencing it for real. It wasn't difficult to go and say, here's why we need to increase prices. Some of what we've seen though is as there becomes a stability at our customers amongst their staff and their folks, is it's no longer I just need you. What are you going to charge me? And I'm going to charge you X with a price increase. To now we're getting back to a little bit of, well, wait, I could price check this in the marketplace, or I could go out and do an RFP where pre-COVID you might have been getting here it is. Plus, I want you to know how you're going to reduce our cost 5% every year for the next 3 years. You don't get that part, but you are getting now finally some understanding at the customer side to be able to say, like, we will listen about a price increase, but we're not as open as we were in the past when they really needed us. And we had capacity issues and we're able to say, this is the price. If you want it, this is what it, this year it's a little bit different.
Let me ask
Mm.
you, Dan, how many times are your account directors having to have the conversation with job changing and turnover? I mean, we're seeing that a lot out there. So might you finally just set expectations and you get a sort of customer on the right page about costs and pricing, whatever. And then a year later, you have somebody new that you're having to have that conversation with all over.
Well, specifically with COVID, right? Because a lot of our customers, marketing departments, and event areas were devastated. They were reduced to very
Yeah.
small staff, and coming out of it, there was some ability on our part because we were almost functioning as their staff in some cases, and so there was this ability to kind of get a good conversation, a good understanding, a good relationship as to what had to happen. But what we did see was someone who said, "Well, I'm not happy with you, but I'm going to go over to Chris." And some of Chris's customers going, "Well, I'm going to go over to Dan." And there wasn't a lot of shopping. It was just I just had enough of Chris or I had enough of Dan. And there were these lateral moves. There wasn't necessarily any program improvement or any price improvement. Now, though, we're seeing a lot more stability where they're going like, well, I'm going to go out and do an RFP. I'm going to go out and seek something new or different. And so there is stability on the customer side, but that stability is coming with a price because they're improving their ability to decide what it is they want from us and you and the whole stack of people who are going to support a face-to-face exhibit or event. And so we are seeing a little bit of that.